Island Harbor Resort. Your dream, our mission. 2 years ago, you put this rundown 3-star hotel into our capable hands with the idea of a West Coast luxurious yet affordable waterfront resort. It started with minimal services and facilities, the rooms were subpar, and the guests were provided with poor experiences. Our plan involved timely renovations and cleaning services in the slow months and pricing strategies that were slightly less than our top three competitors in order to hold on to a higher market share. At the end of the day, we want to produce you as much income as possible, which is why we started by investing funds into services and facilities that generate income. We planned on paying off debt when available, as it's important to be cautious of interest. We are going to dive deep into the reasoning behind our operations, ownership, guest satisfaction, and associate engagement success. Although we did not meet all of our targets in the previous categories, we still ranked first overall in this category after 2 years. As news managers, it wasn't all smooth sailing. In our first 3 months of business, we thought it'd be a good idea to take on RFPs at a low rate in order to have a high occupancy. Well, our occupancy rates were in fact high. However, we realized that we had priced our rooms too low, and it caused us to make very little profit. Once we realized our mistake, we then corrected this by always setting our rates at the third highest price to ensure we capture a high percent of the market while still generating income. Our market share in the first year ended with 11.46%, which is 0.35% higher than our fair market share. We pushed even harder going into the second year, and we got our market share up to 12.52%, 1.41% higher than the fair market share. Although we succeeded in raising our market share, we did not meet our RevPAR goals, but did have an increase year after year. This is because we lowered our rates in the second year due to changes in our competition rates. Let's talk about ADR. In the first year, we aimed for an ADR of $213 and only achieved an ADR of $207. In the second year, we aimed for an ADR of $218, but were only able to achieve an ADR of $199. Our ADA went down in the second year because we lowered our rates, but occupancy went up, which in turn pushed our revenue further. Although these goals were not achieved, the true RevPAR had a huge growth year after year, going from $241 to $275 in the second year. This is a huge success in terms of revenue, as it means we're successfully able to make more money from all aspects of revenue-generating departments. Now for the moment that every owner wants to hear, the profit. We are proud to announce we successfully placed first overall in our financial categories in our competitive set. We made a net profit of $3,695,510 in our first year and a net profit of $3,725,343 in our second year, which was the highest of all of our competitors. We successfully achieved a GOP of 39.71%, 11.71% higher than our targeted first year goal. We then followed this up by achieving a 35.17%, which was 5.17% higher than our second year goal. Although our GOP was not as high as the first year, we did in fact achieve a higher revenue, which shows that although we were not making as much profit off our products and services, we were selling much more of them. Our ROE and ROC performed wonderfully. You'll notice our second year was not as positive, but that was because we purchased our first non-revenue generating facility, the Executive Lounge, and paid off a much larger debt load. Finally, our management fees and current ratio were both drastically higher than we anticipated due to our financial success. We were able to produce $2,992,556 in management fees. However, this pales in comparison to the $7,420,853 in net profit we made for you, the owners. While generating massive profits, we were also able to end with a current ratio of 8.13. This shows our ability to generate assets while decreasing liabilities.
We did very well with our guest satisfaction scores, except in one category. Our room refurbishment and public space refurbishment ended after 2 years with a 94% guest satisfaction. This is 4% higher than our anticipated 90%, which we aimed for. Our services score finished after 2 years with a 93%, which was 3% higher than our anticipated result. Now you may be asking, then how we ranked number 7th overall in this category? This was because our facility score only scored a 69% in the ratings. This was because we held off taking money from the cash balance or to save money for the third year. We almost certainly have to make serious renovations, as the competition would surely start to adjust to our business decisions. Our facilities were lacking. However, our guests still gave us a 100% guest service rating. Although our guest satisfaction was low, ultimately, we still provided excellent service while making incredible profits.
We did very well in our associate engagement categories. The first year, we were able to keep our staffing levels at 101.61% and 101.03% in the second year. This means that we almost always had the correct amount of staff on to accommodate the changing industry. Our staff are very well trained. We understand the importance that well trained staff have on the outcome of a business. If staff are making mistakes, it is likely that guests will not return and we will lose our valued customers. We ended the first year with a 98.5% and the second year with a 100% competency rating. Alongside great training programs for our staff, we also paid them slightly higher than the average. After 1 year, due to great performance, we increased all wages by 2.4%. This in turn helps retain employees and improves morale within the business. The 2.14% was chosen as BC's national rate of inflation was 2.1% last year. We feel it is imperative to be able to provide sufficient income for living expenses. Our associate facilities grew to 78% after 1 year and up to 94% in year 2. We find value in having staff members that are not overworked, are well trained, paid appropriately, and enjoy their personal spaces at work.
We learned so much over the last 2 years about the industry and competitive set we operate in. First, if you price RFPs too low, you may only break even or could possibly lose money due to unanticipated operating expenses. Also, the value of regular cleaning services on rooms contributes greatly to the reputation of the rooms and public areas. Cleaning services are cheaper than redos and renovations, which provides a large boost to the guest perception. When staff are well trained and paid well, it is likely that staff will perform well, which contributed to our guest service score. Food and beverage made up almost 25% of our revenue, which means there's lots of opportunity to generate income. Lastly, it is important to have a sufficient amount of funds allocated to marketing. Without spending 36% on marketing, guests will not be able to access your company as easily, and it will allow other businesses to grow while you stay stagnant. We strongly recommend that future managers do not price RFPs much lower than their lowest rate available. This will prevent them from taking on unnecessary staff and having high turnover rates. Also, a manager must always be reevaluating its market share and food and beverage projections to ensure they have a sufficient staffing at all times. Pricing is very important. A business must stay competitive, so a manager must always look at the competition's rates. This will help make sure that customers are seeing value for the price paid. The most important recommendation is to only be purchasing facilities and services which generate revenue. Purchasing non-generating revenue or small generating revenue facilities or services will hinder a business's ability to generate income and will provide a lower return on capital employed. Lastly, following these recommendations, a manager will be able to generate enough income to pay down interest on liabilities, which will save thousands of dollars over a longer period. Island Harbor Resort will continue to stand at the top of our competitive set. This will continue to build a favorable relationship for yourselves and for us. We look forward to continued business in the future.